Back to the subject of reaction, because this is the age of illusions and headlines that whisper reality is not what it seems. Science tells us the senses mislead. The physicist proves the table is mostly space. The neuroscientist says the image on the screen of the mind is stitched together after the fact. All right, good. If you have been told that the senses can fool you, why in heaven's name would you trust your panic? Why hurry to rearrange your mirage? Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment is not a church verse. It is an instruction for your next breath, you see. I am not here to argue physics with you. I will not defend a particle or a wave. I am here to say, if the senses are untrustworthy, then non-reaction is the sane, spiritual, and scientific response. Not new data, not better graphs, not a brighter spotlight on the shadow play, non-reaction. Never desire to change appearances. Never set your heart to polish the image on the screen. Let the images dance as they will, but do not give them authority. Do not bow to the flicker. Be still and know that I am God. Not be frantic and know. Not be clever and know. Be still. A young researcher wrote me, fiction if you like, but such letters come every season, who said, I learned in the lab that perception is constructed. So I've installed more cameras, more alerts, more controls at home. Why do I feel worse? Do you see that? He took the gospel of illusion and made it an idol of control. That is the old habit. Hear that appearances deceive and then double the reins. Monitor the pulse, refresh the feed. No, never enter the case humanly. Never permit yourself to give human advice to a picture. We are not here to add one more act to panic. We are here to live unafraid, without over-control, by trusting that reality requires no defense from us. Faith, now listen, faith is shown by your reaction, not by your vocabulary about consciousness, not by your sermon on simulation. Faith is the quiet in the rib cage when the market falls. Faith is the unhurried eye when the message pings at midnight. Faith is measured. We are on the middle path when we neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. When we look upon the image and refuse to take sides with it against principle. Take no thought for your life, said the Master. And that is not irresponsibility, it is sacred restraint. It is the refusal to manipulate a mirage. So, as this age tells you, everything is an image, say within yourself. Very well, then I will not be its captive. I will not flee the picture. I will not fix the picture. I will not fight the picture. I will let the presence judge righteous judgment in me, and I will be still until the inward government moves. Non-reaction, not new data, is our rightful response when we learn appearances deceive. All right, let us speak plainly for a moment, not to tangle ourselves in microscopes and metaphors, but to clear the ground so you may stand. Science says perception is a prediction. The brain fills in, guesses ahead, and then edits the guess to fit the incoming light. You have seen the pictures that reverse when you stare. You have noticed the color that vanishes when you shift your gaze, optical tricks that teach, if we are teachable, that the senses report latent patchy. In the clinic, a sugar pill heals because belief rides it like a chariot, and the same belief, inverted, makes a harmless substance sting the placebo and the nocebo, the yes and the no in the bloodstream. In the lab, the observer leans, and outcomes lean with them. That is enough. We nod and we pass on. We are not chemists of panic, we are seekers of truth. The Spirit has had this language long before charts bloomed on walls. Judge not according to the appearance. We call the human tableau an appearance, sometimes a temptation, because it bids you react. It bids you bow. Lead us not into temptation is not a plea to keep you out of bakeries and bars. It is the cry to be kept out of worshiping the picture, pro or con. We walk by faith, not by sight, And the measure of that walk is that we neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. Do you see? Middle path. The report comes, mark it down, fever up, friend withdraws, and the old habit is to side with it or to rage against it. But both are forms of worship. Non-reaction is not indifference. It is fidelity to principle while the flicker dances. It is the inward peace be still. Not to the storm only, but to the soul that would rush to push the cloud. Now hear this, so you do not crown a new idol. Do not make a doctrine out of simulation. Do not enthrone the lab any more than the pulpit. God isn't mind. God isn't even soul. Nobody knows what God is. Don't turn to God for anything, by which I mean do not drag God down into a power to fix your pictures. Stay with principle. Man was not made for the Sabbath, nor was reality made for your theories. The Sabbath, the theory, the ritual, these are helps, not masters. If you find yourself quoting the physicist to justify your fear or the preacher to justify your fury, you have only traded costumes for the same dance. Never enter the case humanly. Never permit yourself to give human advice to a picture. Be still. So let us finish this bridge simply. Whether you name it illusion or appearance, agree on the caution. Do not absolutize what fluctuates. The things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. The graph rises and falls, the headline shouts and fades, the body signals and then forgets. Do not grant the flicker authority. One split second of silence, this kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting and the inward government registers. Then, if there is action, it will not be your panic, but principle's own adjustment. Take no thought. Set your affection on things above, and let the presence, not the picture, be your measure. Now let us measure it quietly, honestly, because there is no other way to know where we stand. Faith is not your vocabulary, not your grasp of metaphysics, not your eloquence at lunch. Faith is shown by your reaction when the picture shouts, when the bell rings with bad news, when a number on a screen turns red or a voice in the hall turns sharp, and your inner man does not flinch. There is your stature and spirit. Let not your heart be troubled, the Master said, not because the sea is smooth, but because the eye within the boat is not a passenger. Do you see? When the wave rises and the knee does not jerk, you have witnessed faith made visible. We are on the middle path when we neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. Say it to yourself until it settles. Neither fear, love, nor hate. Fear makes the picture a tyrant. Hate makes it an idol in reverse. And love, oh, this is subtle love, of a good picture binds you to the carousel of pleasant illusion. The sunny chart, the friendly letter, the strong report, if you lean on them, you are still bowing to the flicker. Faith does not lean. Faith beholds. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Middle path, steady gaze, no sides. Now expose panic for what it is. Panic is belief in two powers. Panic says, there is God and there is this other thing, and I must rush to make God win. No. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. There are not two powers, there is only one. The moment you feel the push to clutch or to claw, you have granted a second power. Right there, catch it, nullify it, release it. Quietly say within yourself, I know no power but God. Be still and know that I am God. Not be frantic in hope, not be clever and argue. Be still and know. So stack this in you until it becomes reflex. Don't react. Don't desire to change appearances. Be still. Let there be that split second of silence. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting, which is to say withdraw from the urge to fix, from the appetite to advise, from the tremor to defend. Fast from reaction. Pray by yielding. You think non-reaction is passivity? No, non-reaction is alignment before action. The archer takes the breath before the release. The sailor trims the sail before the gust. The prophet listens before he speaks. It shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. Action that follows alignment is principle moving as you. Motion without silence is personality fighting shadows. A woman wrote again, let it be a parable for all of us. At midnight the message came, contract canceled. My chest leapt. My fingers reached for replies and threats. Then I remembered not two powers. I sat. I let one breath find bottom, nothing to say. In the morning, without hurry, I wrote 3 sentences without defense, and an entirely different door opened. Do you see? Non-reaction did not freeze her. It freed her from the compulsion to serve the picture. Then, if a call must be made, it will be made. If a walk must be taken, it will be taken. If silence must continue, it will continue. But the mover is not fear. Faith without flinch is not bravado. It is the hush of recognition. Perfect love casteth out fear, not because it conquers a rival, but because in love there is no rival to cast. Let your ribcage learn this. Let your hours practice it. When the next picture shouts, measure your faith not by the verse you can quote, but by the stillness you can allow, and watch how the one unopposed, unhurried, governs what, if anything, you do next. All right. Now take this from the chamber of your rib cage out into the places where the pixels dance. Your feed swings red, and green mark it up, mark it down. A post howls outrage at dawn. A voice in the kitchen sharpens over the sink. Do not take sides, take principle. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. We are not adjudicating bears and bulls, left and right, mother and child. We are guarding the inner altar from the temptation to choose a personality and call it truth. The minute you choose a person or a party, you have left the middle path and you have let the picture conscript you. Be still. Let the one judge in you before a single word leaves your mouth. You are not dealing with a good side and a bad side. Christ is the only identity. Say it until your throat believes it. In the commentator and in the candidate, in the spouse and in the sullen teenager, Christ is the only identity. There is neither Jew nor Greek. There is neither bond nor free. For ye are all one in Christ Jesus. Do you see how this dissolves the heat? We do not bless one mask and curse another. We refuse masks, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, and so we do not flail at flesh and blood. Never enter the case humanly. Never permit yourself to give human advice to a picture. If true adjustment is to appear, it will not come because you humiliated a stranger in the comments or won a clever line at the table. It will come as principle reveals itself, often without explanation, often without your signature upon it. Now unmask the subtle trap. Not even the side that hires your attention, your tribe, your algorithm, your fondest grievance gets your allegiance. Not even the side that hires you. They pay in dopamine and dread, and both are counterfeit coin. The feed is engineered to provoke the very reaction we are fasting from. The clan is trained to reward the very heat we are cooling. Right there, catch it. Refuse the conscription. Fast from the compulsion to fix, fight, or flee. Put up thy sword into the sheath, not because you have no courage, but because you have no second power to fight. Let the breath find bottom. Let one split second of silence cleanse the lens. Then, if a word must be spoken, it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. Effectiveness is not measured by arguments won, but by spiritual good emerging. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, and watch how a kitchen can soften without a lecture, how a comment thread can lose its heat without your cleverness, how a market decision can be made soberly without the fever of gain or the terror of loss. Sometimes the action will be a gentle sentence, sometimes a firm boundary, sometimes, yes, a holy silence, or even a separation. If spiritual harmony can only be achieved through separation, let's have it. Your interest is only in bringing forth a spiritual activity, not in vindicating a personality, not even your own. So today, when the feed beckons and the room tightens, take no side but principle. Christ is the only identity. Refuse the algorithm's altar, bow to no tribe, and let the presence govern what, if anything, appears as your response. Blessed are the peacemakers, not because they appease personalities, but because they stand so steadily in one that there is nothing left in them to fix, fight, or flee. Now let us unmask the atmosphere itself, because if you keep making this personal, you will bruise yourself and your neighbor without ever touching the cause. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, the apostle said, and that is our diagnosis today. Most of what tightens a room, most of what seizes a throat, is not your guilt or her malice. It is universal belief, a mental weather front passing through, impersonally, lawlessly. Compassion first. Compassion for the one whose breath shortens. Compassion for yourself when your hands go cold because you are not wicked, you are standing in a wind. This has nothing to do with this person. This is a universal belief. On Monday, it blows as a headline. On Tuesday, it mutates into a memo. On Wednesday, it appears as a cough in the office. On Thursday, it shows up as a graph in your feed. Same ghost, new costume. Years ago, they taught you the draft causes colds, and you believed it, and the shiver followed the story like a faithful dog. Today, the draft is an algorithm that whispers, danger, 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 and your body, loyal servant that it is, salutes. Do you see how fear goes viral? The content is different. The mechanism is the same. Suggestion multiplied by attention, clothed with the authority you lend it. So we do not scold the patient. We do not slap the phone from the hand. We do not enter the case humanly with lectures and vitamins for the soul. We step back to principle and we speak quietly, lawfully, with the authority of one. Right now, I nullify any seeming effect of universal belief. There is no law to support fear. There is only one power. Say it as you would say, excuse me, when passing in a narrow hall, polite, unheeded, certain. You are not commanding a second power to retreat. You are recognizing there never was a second power to begin with. God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Receive that as atmosphere and watch how the gust weakens. A student wrote me after a siren-laced morning. By lunch, the whole floor was vibrating. Slack was a rumor mill. My chest felt wired. He remembered this is impersonal, this is atmosphere, and he left his desk for 3 minutes. Not to rehearse arguments, but to withdraw his consent. He said softly, I know no law of contagion in spirit. Infection and panic have no law to support them. There is only one power. When he returned, the chatter had not vanished, but the hook in his ribs had, do you see? When it's impersonal, you stop blaming and start beholding. The office did not need a savior. It needed one witness to law. Treat panic as impersonal and lawless, and its authority dissolved. Thou shalt not be afraid for the terror by night. There shall no evil befall thee, neither shall any plague come nigh thy dwelling. Not because you barricaded the windows, but because you ceased appointing fear as a magistrate. Weather passes, law abides. The feed may flash, the room may tighten, the draft may fine, the back of your neck don't react to the appearance. Recognize the atmosphere for what it is. Withdraw the worship you attempted to give it. and quietly, courteously nullify. Right now, I nullify any seeming effect of universal belief. There is only one power, and stand there, beholding, until the wind remembers it was never a law. Now let us make this practical, because talk without a way is only another appearance to argue about 3 minutes. That is all. A watch is second hand, not a monastery. Short, disciplined, non-reaction creates the inner room where true guidance can register. And we will build that room on command, you see. Not to fix the picture, to refuse its conscription. Not to polish an image, to yield to presence. All right? First, name it. Say within yourself, quietly and exactly, this is an appearance. Those 4 words loosen the hook. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. You are not denying that a picture is on the screen. You are denying it jurisdiction. This is an appearance. The email subject line is an appearance. The headline is an appearance. The tightness in the ribs is an appearance. Speak it once, not arguing, not pleading, just identifying the costume so you are not taken in by the mask. Already the weather shifts. Already the wind loses rank. Second, refrain. I will not enter this case humanly. Hands off the levers, put the phone down, close the laptop lid half an inch so the glow dims, and with it the urge to compose your cleverness. Take no thought for your life, which means take no thought for the picture about your life. No rehearsing, no bargaining, no trial lawyering in the skull. Put up thy sword into the sheath. All the reflexes to fix, fight, or flee. Let them pass like birds you will not follow. You are fasting from reaction. You are refusing a second power. Do you see that? Third, silence. Be still and know. Not be still and think. Not be still and chant your way out. Forget for a minute all the truth you ever knew. Nobody by taking thought can contact God. Sit upright if you can, feet on the floor, hands easy, and let one breath find bottom. Then wait for the split second of hush that lengthens. There it is, a small click as if a gear engaged. No affirmations, no bargains, no visualizations. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. If a thought insists, let it pass. If a fear knocks, do not answer. 1 minute can be enough, often 2 feels given. Sometimes the full 3 will be needed. Don't time it with suspicion, feel it with trust. Fourth, re-enter. From the quiet, take the next simple act 1 step, not 10, to express decency, order, or pause. Pour a glass of water. Delete the drafted retort and replace it with a single courteous sentence or with silence. Move the meeting 1 hour so you do not drag heat into the room. Open the window, close the tab. It shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. Do not dramatize, do not announce, do not tally. Let the act be small and clean, a wick to the oil you receive. And if the case proves intractable, if the picture hammers the door and the ribs won't loosen, invoke the escalation clause of the Spirit, prayer and fasting. This kind goeth not out but by prayer and fasting. Withdraw from inputs, turn off the feed, lay aside even spiritual statements. Sit longer until the hush is not your effort but your atmosphere. 5 minutes, 15, an hour, if given no heroics, just fidelity. Do not look for signs. Do not peek at the scoreboard. Let maturity bring to light. When the click deepens, you will know then, and only then, take the next simple step and leave the rest to the one who never needed your panic to govern the picture. Now, before we go another step, let me clear the ground with a broom that will seem rough to your favorite notions. God isn't mind. God isn't even soul. Nobody knows what God is. Don't try to hold that with your head. Let it unseat the little altar you have been polishing in the cranium. Every time you carve a concept, God is energy, God is law, God is a kindly superintendent, you have sculpted an idol of thought. Smash it courteously. Thou shalt have no other gods before me, not even theological ones, not even exquisite metaphysical ones. Do you see that? Don't turn to God for anything. I know that sounds like heresy to the utility religion we were raised in. But the moment you turn to God for health, for money, for safety, for the job, you have placed God into the marketplace as a power among powers, a faucet you open when thirsty and close when sated. No, not by might nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. Turn to God for God. Presence is the good, presence is the health, presence is the supply. I, God, am the solution to all problems. Not a solution delivered, the solution present. When presence is felt, the itch to bargain dies. The panic loses its argument. The answer, if there is one, appears without your clutching. Can taking thought contact God? No. Let's have that settled so you can rest from the treadmill of spiritual cleverness. Take no thought, said the Master. Nobody by taking thought can contact God. You can refine your ideas, polish your verses, arrange your affirmations into a cathedral, and still stand outside in the snow. There must come a split second of silence, no strain, no recital, before the door knows you and opens. Be still and know that I am God. Not be noisy and hope. Be still and know. So the posture, very simple, very exact. Sit until concepts thin, sit kindly without heroics, and let even your cherished truths grow translucent. After the fire, a still small voice is the report of Scripture. Do not mistake the fire for the voice. Wait on the word that is not a word. You will not hear syllables. You will notice an atmosphere, an inner softening, a weightless weight, and then sometimes a phrase that reads you more than you read it. The kingdom of God is within you, and the within is not a location but a hush. Often I have heard it only as a shift. Breath finds bottom, the ribs forget their argument, and something like peace arrives that I did not manufacture. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. That, you see, is contact. A scholar wrote, let it be your story if you like. I memorized chapters, stacked doctrines, lectured others on consciousness, and went home aching. One dawn I ran out of sentences and simply sat. There was no vision, no word, only a descending quiet. By noon nothing in the picture had changed, but the hook was gone. Relief arises from contact with presence, not from improved concepts about it. The picture may remain for a season, let maturity bring to light. But the tyrant has no throne. Once the presence is the atmosphere, then it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak, and it will be one clean step, born not of fear, but of the one who never needed your ideas to be God. So today, turn to God for God. Sit until concepts thin. Refuse to trade one idol for a shinier one. Wait for the split second of silence. Wait on the Lord. Be of good courage, and he shall strengthen thine heart. And when the hush comes, even as a breath-long visitation, do nothing to keep it and nothing to spend it. Let it keep you, let it spend you. Presence first, pictures later. Then you will find that the government is upon his shoulder, and you may walk on, unhurried, under an authority you did not invent. All right, let me set 3 living scenes before you so you may taste how one practice meets many pictures. The first is simple and familiar. The portfolio dips. The screen blushes red. The chart steps down instead of up. Your finger hovers over the trade button like a soldier over a trigger. Stop. Name it. This is an appearance. Don't debate it. Don't deny it. Identify its rank and withdraw your worship. Hands off the lever. Take no thought for your life, which in this moment means take no thought for the picture about your life. 3 minutes. Refrain, no tinkering, no doom scroll, no second app to confirm the fear. Be still and know. Let one breath find bottom. Wait for the split second of hush when the rib cage unhooks. If a word comes, it will be clean and small. Stand aside or rebalance at noon, or do nothing today. If no word comes, keep your hands off until the heat passes. Later hours, a day, you will act from clarity, not from fear and not from euphoria. It shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak, and that hour is the hour of quiet, not of headline. You will discover again that your effectiveness rises when your allegiance is not to the picture but to principle. Second scene, the family text thread erupts. A cousin posts a barb. A sibling replies with a ledger of wrongs. The thread pings like hail on a tin roof. Do not take sides, take principle. Christ is the only identity. Say it until the heat in your own throat drops a degree. Never enter the case humanly. Don't draft a paragraph. Don't screenshot allies from old threads to prove your righteousness. 1 minute, yes. Only one to bow in the heart. One power. This is an appearance. Fear and blame have no law to support them. Right now I nullify any seeming effect of universal belief in conflict. Then, if a reply is given you, let it be a single courteous sentence that refuses personality and honors truth, or let it be silence. A soft answer turneth away wrath, and sometimes no answer lets the tempest spend itself without finding a sail in you. Watch how heat cools or simply passes you by when there is nothing in you for it to cling to. Effectiveness is not the clever retort, but the absence of a second power in your speech. Third scene, the medical waiting room. The air is filled with whispers, wheels, antiseptic. The clock moves like syrup. The old training says, rehearse outcomes, count symptoms, borrow dread from the hallway. No, recognize atmosphere. This is universal belief. God hath not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. Sit quietly, feet on the floor, hands easy, breathe as if you trusted one. Be still and know. Do not try to heal anyone. Do not offer human advice to the picture. Fast from reaction. When the nurse calls, receive instruction from composure. Ask what you must ask without tremor. Let it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. Govern your questions and your tone. Whatever the report, good, mixed, or hard, guard your center. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on thee, and from that peace the next wise step will be plain. A test scheduled, a second opinion sought, a walk taken, a word of thanks offered. No theatrics promised. What is promised is steadiness and wiser steps. Do you see the thread? Portfolio, text thread, waiting room, different rooms, same altar. Outcomes vary, composure remains. We do not worship the flicker. We do not serve the heat. We practice non-reaction and silent God contact until the inner government is felt. Then, without hurry, we do the next clean thing and let maturity bring to light what pictures, if any, will change. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord, not by might, not by power, but by a presence that never needed our panic to be God. Now we come to the gentlest law and the sternest, the one that offends the hurry in us and saves the heart in us. Let maturity bring to light fruit tree wisdom. You do not pry the branches. You do not polish the bud in your palm. You do not stand in the orchard shouting at green figs to redden. You keep the soil honest. You keep the root watered. You keep your hands off the fruit until the sun and the season, those silent ministers say, now, to everything there is a season, and the soul has its seasons as surely as the fig. Do you see that? Your work is root and water, non-reaction and God contact. The ripening is not your department. Don't look at your demonstration day by day. Please hear me. That is the secret treadmill, the subtle idolatry of outcomes draped in spiritual language. Saul of Tarsus did not fall from his horse and print business cards the next week, 9 years before he went out. 9 years of desert and silence and unheroic errands, years for his heat to become light, for his zeal to forget its sword. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength, not their slogans. Let this measure you. Can you let a word ripen in you without reporting it to your vanity? Can you hold a prayer like a seed in dark earth and trust the rain you cannot schedule? Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come. It will not tarry, not your calendars surely, God's. Now the imperatives of rest, and I mean imperatives. Stop checking. Stop measuring. Stop peeking at the scoreboard of your life as if heaven were an app refreshing its metrics for your reassurance. Let patience have her perfect work, which means let God have its perfect work without your hourly audit. Each glance at the clock is a small vote of no confidence. Each tally feeds the universal belief that time is a power and haste is a virtue. Withdraw your consent. Say within, politely and firmly, time has no law to govern spirit. There is only one power. Then tend the root, the 3-minute hush, the refusal to enter the case humanly, the quiet breath that finds bottom. That is watering. That is sunshine. Outcome detachment is not coldness. It is worship with idols cleared away. If spiritual harmony can only be achieved through separation, let's have it. If the contract must be lost so that your integrity may breathe, be still. If a picture dear to you must pass because it was a dear picture and not the presence, let it go without accusation. He that loveth father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. Not a cruelty, a clarity. Christ is the only identity. Personalities are costumes on loan. You are not choosing pain. You are refusing to enthrone a second power. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. And from that quiet, the next step, even when it is a leaving, will be graced with an absence of heat. So here is the simple rule. When your fingers itch to tally and your eyes crave a sign, pause. Name the itch. This is an appearance. Fast from reaction. Say quietly, I withdraw measurement. I allow maturity. I let God have its perfect work. Then take one clean, ordinary step, wash the dish, write the thank you, rest the case for a day, and do not look back over your shoulder to see if fruit has blushed. Be patient, therefore, brethren, unto the coming of the Lord. Behold, the husbandman waiteth until he receive the early and latter rain. Let that be you. Release the clock, retire the scoreboard. Walk unhurried under one power, and watch how, without your prying, ripeness announces itself, sometimes as restoration, sometimes as release, always as peace. Now, let us bind this into a rule, because sporadic ecstasies and heroic bursts are not the government of peace. A simple, repeatable way is sacred restraints, first vows, if you will, that keep your feet on the middle path when the pictures flare. Never enter the case humanly. Never try to change appearances. Never take sides. You see how clean that is? Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Put up thy sword, no trial lawyering in the head, no tinkering at the levers, no cleverness offered to personalities in the hope of winning. We are not here to manipulate a picture. We are here to refuse a second power. When the urge to fix, fight, or flee presents itself as it does to all of us, let the restraint answer courteously but firmly, not that way, not today, not ever. Now the quiet permissions, the tender yes that follows the brave no. Be still. Let the inner word come. Take only the next unstrained act. Bless both sides. Be still and know that I am God, which is permission to stop auditioning for results and to rest the case in one. It shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak, which is permission to do nothing until it is given. Bless them which persecute you. Bless and curse not, which is permission to see Christ as the only identity on both sides of the table, and to let your heart refuse hatred even while your boundary is firm. The next act, small and unheeded, is always enough. Anything strained is premature. Do you see that? Set your day to this cadence and refuse to let mood or news steal it. Morning. Silence before the world opens its mouth. Sit with empty hands, forgetting even the truths you love, and wait for the split second of hush that says, I am here. 10 minutes if given, 5 if not, no bargaining, no vaudeville of affirmations, just speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. Midday, the 3-minute drill we have practiced, name the appearance, refrain from entering, be still until breath finds bottom, and then, if needed, one clean step. Evening, gratitude without tally. In everything give thanks, not because the scoreboard pleases you, but because presence kept you and will keep you. Lay the day on the altar without autopsy. Let patience have her perfect work. And if all else chatters, if the atmosphere buzzes like a hive, and nerves will not obey, invoke the capstone lever the Master left us, prayer and fasting. This kind goeth not out, but by prayer and fasting. Withdraw from inputs. No feed, no case talk, no spiritual parading. A day, if you can, an afternoon, if that is given. Sit until the click. Do not manufacture it. Do not time it. Just wait in fidelity. You are not moving God. You are being moved out of the storm into the hush where law is felt. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. That is the rule. 3 restraints and 4 permissions held by a daily rhythm, and when needed, the fast. Keep it and let it keep you. Better a small fidelity every day than a flaming hour once a month. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, and a mind is stayed by rule, not by whim. Walk it today. Refuse sides. Refuse tinkering. Be still. Take the next unstrained act. Bless both sides, and let the one unhurried govern the pictures that appear. Back to the subject of reaction, because this is where the day is won or lost. If your senses can fool you, why trust your panic? Don't. When the pixels dance and headlines jab like small knives, remember, we walk by faith, not by sight. Sight reports the flicker, faith refuses the flinch. Let not your heart be troubled is not a lullaby, it is a command for this hour. So today, as the pictures change, costumes, markets, messages, moods, don't react to the appearance and never desire to change the appearance. Neither fear, love, nor hate any appearance. You see, the dance will not stop because you glare at the screen. It quiets within because you withdraw your worship. Seal the center before you cross the threshold. I, God, am the solution to all problems, not as a phrase glued to the mind, not as a charm in the pocket, but as a living atmosphere felt in silence. Be still and know that I am God. Sit a moment, yes, a moment until the split second of hush arrives, and then rise from presence, not from strategy. My peace I give unto you, not as the world giveth. Carry that peace like a climate. Turn to God for God, and the rest will be added as it must, without your bargaining and without your fear. Nobody, by taking thought, can contact God. But in the quiet, the innermost says, it is I, Be not afraid. And the day answers to that voice. Go now and refuse sides in your feed. Refuse the itch to fix, fight, or flee. Christ is the only identity. Do you see that? Bless both sides. Put up thy sword into the sheath, no trial lawyering in the head. Take the 3-minute fast from reaction whenever the wind rises. Name the appearance. Refrain from entering. Be still until breath finds bottom, and then, if given one clean step, it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. Sometimes what you shall speak is silence. Sometimes it is a single courteous sentence. Sometimes it is a boundary set without heat. Effectiveness is not your strain. Effectiveness is the absence of a second power in you. And do not monitor as you go. No scoreboard, no clock. The Lord shall fight for you, and ye shall hold your peace. Let maturity bring to light. If something dear must pass, let it go without accusation. If something longed for ripens, receive it without pride. Be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. That overcoming appears as your steadiness under pressure more than as fireworks in the sky. The kingdom is within you, and within looks like a quiet that doesn't need to win the argument. Unseen friends now, all right? Walk unafraid. Morning, noon, and evening, be still. Refuse sides. Refuse tinkering. Turn to God for God. Let the presence govern the picture. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. And strength today is simple. No flinch at the flicker, no worship of the wind, one clean step from the hush. Go in peace, and let the one, unhurried, show what good appears without your strain.